Hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is December 30th, Monday when I'm recording this. You guys will be seeing this, I believe, on Tuesday, which is going to be the last video newsletter before the new year. And then remember, the first is holiday, so we're going to have that closed. The market's going to be closed. And then Thursday, Friday, I am also up in Whistler. I got here Sunday, and I come back on Thursday. So I'm kind of taking some time away. Most of our positions are, doing all right. The market's still under pressure. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit and see what's happening here. This is something I mentioned to my subscribers today, and unfortunately, this is the put call ratio. Unfortunately, it's been kind of, not very reliable or accurate for the last few months. Actually, pretty much all of a whole year. The only thing I can really mention is in the past, the recent past really, is that when the put call ratio gets to like the 10-day moving average gets well below zero point 0.7 and closer to 0.6, you can see here, and then even what we're dealing with right now, it has at least kind of been accurate about marking the tops. So usually the put call ratio is better about high, low, and then market high, market low, tops, bottom, stuff like that. But man, since this market has absolutely just been on fire, and I think interest rates are coming down, the put call ratio hasn't been very accurate, mostly because a lot of money is coming in off of the sidelines, and the market has been extremely bullish, and so people are just like, I don't need a hedge, and it's kind of been throwing the indicator off. And as I said, the only times that we've kind of been able to pick out is when it really gets to these extreme situations, and we might be in one of those situations again right here with the put call ratio just being extremely low. You can see other times that it got low and it didn't really mark a top. It kind of finally marked a pullback, but it wasn't very accurate. And man, days and weeks can go by before this thing actually does something. So that's one thing to kind of talk about and be aware. The only other thing that I can kind of point out here, because the market is down today, and this could be end of the year shenanigans and stuff like that. The other thing to kind of note as I talk about the mega caps, because I think we all know that the mega caps are flight to safety and all that kind of stuff. They're kind of the first to take off and the last to fall because flight to safety. And so what I'm looking at here is FNGU. This is the leveraged ETF of the FANG stocks. Now, it's as accurate as you might want it to be, but I just want to show you the general idea is here when price gets extended, there's a pullback. And here, price extended, there's a pullback. And another extension, pullback, and here we are in kind of a very similar type extension. So we have been trading this thing. We actually made plus 60% or so on this and took half off up here. So this is a weekly chart, and that was a really, really good exit for us. I'm happy about that. You can see price is kind of down or sideways a little bit. And really, I think the question is, well, what's going to happen next? Again, we have some shenanigans going on at the end of the year, so we should have a clearer picture going into the new year. But I just want to put it out there that if the market continues to be under pressure, we have the put call ratio, we have the FANG stocks, the index of the FANG stocks are still pretty high. So if we do see some weakness into the new year, I think we should be okay with that and prepared for that because, well, you can see here, we are barely touching the weekly 8 EMA, and most times when this thing pulls back, it doesn't just go to the 8, it actually goes closer to the 21, maybe even the 50 SMA on the weekly time frame. So we might be in store for a little bit more downside. The other thing that I tend to look at is this index tends to also pull back to the daily 50 and maybe even more, and we are nowhere near the daily 50. So maybe we have some more room to go to the downside. That's kind of the challenge that I'm trying to figure out here. But underneath the surface, there are still lots of stocks that are doing pretty well. And if we look at the equal weight of the S&P, yes, it's still down, but man, it's really down a lot, and I just kind of look at this, I'm like, I just don't know how much further this thing's going to go because they've really kind of already taken the froth out of the system here when you look at the equal weight. And that's kind of an interesting thing to look at, be like, well, the rest of the market's already pulled back. And so I don't know what kind of rotation, or maybe the whole market's just going to kind of be idle for a while, or maybe, hey, maybe the froth has been taken out and we get a big spring back. So we do kind of have to take a look at this, day by day and see where this goes. I do feel like certain sectors of the market are pretty darn oversold, but then other ones, could actually use some more pullback. But underneath the surface, we're still pretty happy because, we have names like MDAI, doesn't even care that the market's pulling back. I mean, look at this thing. It's still up. We've had a couple great days on this thing, and we are up, about 33% on that one. And then ONDS is another one that we've been trading. And last I saw, we were up 80%, maybe even more. We got in right about here, and we're up 90% on that one. Still some strong moves out there. And then RCAT, this one's still up. You look at this like, hey, we had a dip down this morning, but then it got bought up. The names like this are still looking pretty good. And so I still think that the overall backdrop of the market is still bullish. We're not in a bear market, but I think that you need to take it case by case and see what's working versus what's not working. Bitcoin, hey, Bitcoin's getting pulled back a lot. There are names like Toast that have been pulling back, and now we're just kind of waiting for them to find their support. I mean, look at this thing. We traded this thing up to about, from here to here to about 50%. Then we exited, and it's coming back down, and now it's at the daily 50. Is that going to be support? I don't know, but it's something I'm looking at, and we need to see if this thing starts to work out. Gosh, and then there's even something in the middle of the road. Here's CART. This thing has been challenging, mostly because it hasn't been doing anything, but at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, well, the fact that it hasn't done anything isn't necessarily the worst thing. In fact, you look at this on a weekly time frame, it is coming down right here onto the weekly 21, and it has not moved down, even though the market has been pulling that back. So I kind of look at this and say, you know what? This might actually be some relative strength. Sure, it's not going up, but whenever the market is done pulling back and is ready to start its next uptrend, this thing should be like primed and ready to go for the next move to the upside. So again, I think we need to understand that the market is pulling back, and that makes things a little bit challenging because, of course, not everything is moving all at once. And underneath the surface, this pullback has actually started December 2nd. So if that's something you guys want to look at, you can see, you can barely see that. Well, yeah, the S&P was still moving up on December 2nd, but underneath the surface, the rest of the market started pulling back December 2nd. So we just kind of have to keep waiting for the market to do its thing, to show us when it's ready to go back up, and that'll be an easier environment. But hey, you know what? In the meantime, we still have a lot of these names that we're trading that they're up, they're moving up, or they're consolidated or something like that. So I'm still strong with this market. We just kind of have to be patient, and again, maybe some weird stuff happening at the end of the market, end of the year type thing. All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you in the new year. Take care.
Hey, TG here with Simpler Trading. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like or comment below. Also, make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you can stay up to date with my market analysis. Or you can join my free newsletter with the link in the description. Good trading, and I'll see you at the next video.